Hello, cats and kittens. Orewa Jose, Yoroshku. We're back in the crisis corner, technically the creative corner, and I'm on with my man, the Brute. We go way back. We're going to be handling a relatively sensitive topic of diversity in entertainment and comics, since we're both writers. Diversity in its various forms and how it's affecting us as writers, the creative community in general. The first thing we say here, Brute, what's up, man?
Yo, feels good to be here. Thank you for having me. I look forward to jumping into this.
And this is my first official collaboration. You're the first person I ever collaborated on in the crisis corner, so you hold that distinction, my man.
It feels good to be number one for once.
There you go. Okay. Now, and as we talked before, I went into this is like a few months ago when they dropped the Batwoman trailer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which I wasn't really aware of that much at the time, but then, being a YouTuber, I was looking around and I seen a host of videos just torching this trailer, right? So I said, all right, let me check it out, because I only seen it passingly. And then I go into it, and it's a horrible trailer. First of all,
it is.
It's very feminist agenda type. You know 100%. What I'm saying?
100%.
And it's painful in that respect, but it opened up the can of worms again to me with the whole Comicsgate deal and the whole agenda-driven programming and comics, and now into the media, visual media. And it just got me thinking in terms of us being creators, being independent creators.
Absolutely.
We have our own unique backgrounds and stories to tell, and we need diversity on our side because we're trying to expand entertainment beyond what it is. But at the same time, you run into people either trying to force diversity, which clips us up, because if you force diversity badly, you just get the blowback like you get from that Catwoman stuff.
And with the Batwoman stuff, yes, you're absolutely correct. And on that note of what that trailer was, two things came to my mind when I watched it. First of all, after watching it for the third time, I guess, because I wanted to make sure that I saw what I saw.
True.
There's two things I got from it. One, excuse me, I got two fingers up. One, the CW Arrowverse, as it were, it needs to come to an end. It's got to stop. I love my obscure characters as much as the next person, but now you're going into territory in which most viewers or audiences know nothing about. So therefore, now you can throw as much slop as you want at the audience, and they'll try to lap it up. Number two, which I think is the more offensive part of it, is that the fact that they're writing Batwoman as a lesbian that just so happens to be a hero, instead of a hero that happens to be a lesbian. And her entire character arc looks like it's built around the fact that she likes women. And that's it. That's it. Like, oh, she's in love with a woman. Okay. What else can you do? What else makes you special? Oh, nothing. I'm a lesbian. Okay, but what's that got to do with me? How are me as an audience, as a heterosexual person, going to be able to relate to your character on any level? And that's where the meat of the issue came with me with that Batwoman reveal, because it's not like there hasn't been portrayals of homosexual characters, not only in the comics but also in the television media, even in the Arrowverse, in which they're still handled with care, as it were. Like what they did with the White Canary and everything and like, but at the same time, I don't look at her and like, oh, there's the gay character. It's no, it's like, hey, she's a crime fighter. She's got hands. She's got skill. She has a personality, but she happens to be an individual that has that sexual orientation. Like Arrow, we can look at the Oliver Queen character. You don't look at him and say, hey, that's the guy that likes women. You don't say that. You say like, oh, he's a hero. He does X, Y, and Z. He has this kind of personality. He's grim. He's dark. He has this hope. But at the same time, he's attracted to women. And I think that's where the issue is really starting to come from, is that like character arc is being built around things that aren't that important towards building a story-based character.
Understood. And the same goes with a lot of stuff they're doing with Supergirl. I mean, I can't get past the agenda with Supergirl, because I mean, I was on board for the first season.
Oh,
and then it just they started pressing agendas too much, and to your point, they stopped telling stories.
Exactly.
They just stopped telling stories. What terrifies me with the Batwoman thing is, like you say, my impression or my thought has always been everybody is entitled to representation.
That's fair.
If you have, especially if you have like a constituency that can support you, because I might not tune in, you know what I'm saying? Because whatever, especially if you pushing agendas too hard, but regardless, I'm only going to watch certain types of stories. I might only watch stories about teens. Like I might watch stories about detectives or whatever. If whatever it is that you want to represent, if you can get a constituency that will be in there and watch your show from when it comes on at 8 o'clock or whatever until you finish the whole run, then you can expect to have your show be supported, and you are entitled to have representation. But you can't force it.
There you go.
To the point where, you know, you're just running agenda programming and expect people to just, you know,
get on board with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's and again, it comes and kicks back on everybody else that just has a story about, say, it's Afrocentric or whatever.
Okay, all right.
But they legitimately have a story.
Yes.
Okay.
And what you said is that's the point. They actually have a story to tell, and that hits the nail on the head.
Then you're gonna get lumped in with the agendas or whatever, and they're gonna say, "Oh, he's just, you know, he's one of those." You know what I mean? Somebody that's promoting or pushing this, that, and the other. Now, personally, I came up in the late '70s, early '80s Norman Lear TV. SJW don't mean nothing to me.
That means less than nothing.
That's what I'm saying. That's all he did. And he had good times. He had, what you call them, Chico and the Man. He had All in the Family. He had, all of that was a political type, I guess you could say agenda type.
Yeah, but you said it is. Yeah. But it wasn't intentional to push an idea. Yeah. It was used to try to tell a story, whether it be tongue-in-cheek or not. It was used to tell a story, and it's in that art. Let's call it like it is. Let's just play the game for a second. Let's just call it an art form for the sake of argument.
Okay.
Let's just call this whole political. Let's call it a genre. Let's just call it political socialism television. Let's just call it that.
Yes.
How are you going to use this to educate and entertain consecutively? First and foremost, you have to give me, like I said already, you have to give me a captivating story, a character I want to see overcome something, or anything to that nature. The problem is this. Let's just say I wanted to push that kind of nonsense. All right, let's take Supergirl, for example. I personally hate that show. I didn't watch the first season at all because it was on CBS, and I'm like, oh, all they're going to do is political nonsense. So when it went to CW, I'm like, okay, let me go and watch it. I watched it, hated it, minus Live Wire, hated it. Watched the second season, hated it. So I'm like, okay, let me break down why I hate this. Okay, we already know it has all the feminist push and all other nonsense. Let's just say it's there. what is Supergirl overcoming in the show? And that's what my question was.
Mm-hmm.
What is standing in her way of success?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was nothing.
Mm.
There was no real threat. There was no real problem. There was no real thing to overcome. There was nothing to overcome. It's just like, hey, I'm here. I'm doing these things. All the other characters in there were powerful women, and they were powerful just for giggles.
Mm.
And that bothered me. If you're going to portray a character, well, one, it's already hard to depict Superman, Supergirl, and all those Kryptonians as relatable characters already. Mm-hmm. But now you're going to take that and say that, oh, everybody in this whole universe is already a powerful woman or a powerful whoever without drive, without overcoming. You're already at the end of the journey. Mm-hmm. I don't need to watch this. Mm. Show me her being abused in some way, shape, or form, or somebody holding her back, or you can give me literally anything at this point, but you give me nothing and just want me to say, hey, she's great because she's great. And that's why all of this whole political genre, as it is, that's why everyone has thrown it up, because it's nonsense.
Right.
And because of course you're going to have some of the masses that just want to see whatever on the screen and like, oh my God, she's great, she's a hero to children. But they're not there for storytelling. They're not there for one. Usually that audience knows nothing of comics. Usually they don't know nothing of video games or movies, anything. They're just there as a general audience that doesn't really know anything. All they see is an attractive woman, so they'll watch the show. Mm-hmm. But for those that are looking for something more, something like those that read these books, mm-hmm. or those that watch the old shows or the cartoons or melodramas, whatever, mm-hmm. we're looking for something that's deeper and meatier. But unfortunately, with today's genre, we're not going to find it.
Yeah, and that kind of disappointed. That's what disappointed me about Captain Marvel.
God.
I thought to use a WWE analogy, I think it was a bad push.
Ooh, well spoken.
You took somebody that wasn't extremely popular from the get-go, but you needed. God. I understand they needed a play somebody to take basically Iron Man and Captain America's place to put out front. First of all, you would have had to do that from within.
Hello.
You had to take anybody from the crew that's been established if you want them to be the face of the MCU.
Exactly.
You only could work with what you had. But if you introduce a new character and, going to your point, give her no struggle.
None.
Because at no point in that movie did I feel that she was in terrible danger.
Exactly.
Or that she was threatened, and she lost her memory. That's as bad as it got. She rolled over everybody that came in.
Yeah, everybody. There was no threat. There was no threat. It's just like, I win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. I mean, you're strong. I got you.
I got you. But why are you strong? Like, what else is your issue? Do you have a psychological disembowelment? Are you emotionally jacked up? Do you have a weakness of some sort? You gave me nothing. There was no threat. I'm watching a superhero show in which I know they're going to win and nothing is going to stand in their way. That's ludicrous.
Yeah. And then you can't put her out front of, I mean, all the people that put in work, Black Widow, you could have used her. Now, she just come off being a master assassin and stuff like that. Could she be the public face of the Avengers? Maybe not.
Look, I would have used Wanda Maximoff. If I'm going to use a female lead, like the the stories that you can use from her own story arc, mm-hmm. like what was that? Like Other M and all those other stories in which she's like uber powerful, and does unspeakable things, shattering universes and things like that.
Yeah,
make somebody else a face of the franchise. That's who you use. One is a character we know. Two is a character we watch grow. Three is a character we watch struggle and make changes. Four is also a character that we all come to know and love because of watching the struggles that she's dealt with, losing her brother, being manipulated, finding love and losing it.
Right.
Like, these are things as human beings, or as writers, as readers, as audiences, we're like, yo, I want to see her succeed because I'm a part of her journey. And then if they say, hey, now she's going to be the face of the franchise, everybody would have got on board and no one would have said a peep. Whenever you get some random nonsense, you're going to get me a D-list character, call it like it is, D-list character that all is known for is being absorbed by Rogue. That's about it. And you're like, hey, we're going to get some crazy Brie Larson to play this character, and this is going to be the front runner. Everybody accept her. She has no weaknesses. We don't know nothing about her, but she's going to be our girl. Go kill yourself. And that is why that's the backlash. And it's unfortunate that the media, the liberal media or conservative, either way you flip it, they can't differentiate between the two issues. Do we have an issue because she's a woman? No, we don't care. We have an issue because the story sucks. We have an issue because the character that you've chosen sucks. The person you chose to portray this character sucks. It's got nothing to do with gender or who she's having sex with. I don't care about that. I care about well-crafted storytelling, and it's not going to happen.
And it was preventable. I mean, Feige came through the door saying she is the most powerful character in the MCU. Why he felt like he had to say that, I don't know. I'm still not convinced that she is, to be honest with you.
Because she's written that way. That's it.
Look, she got her, and I don't want to go off on a tangent on her, but basically she got her powers from a machine that was made from the energy of a Tesseract.
That's right.
Whereas Maximoff was basically, she had a more direct connection. They basically worked on her, and I don't know what the process was or whatever. It seemed like she had a more direct connection to the stone that she got her powers from.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her do anything to make me think she's more powerful than Wanda. Or Thor, for that matter.
Oh, hello.
To be honest with you. but Feige came out there and said that basically to push her. Like I said,
Is like you used the WWE term. Yeah. It's a push. It's Roman Reigns all over again.
Exactly. It's
don't want Roman Reigns, but here he is anyway.
if he'd have handled it differently, I think he could have put her over down the line. He could have introduced her at a lower level, worked up. Then people have been like, oh, Captain Marvel's tight.
Yeah, and that's how we do for every character. Like let's take it to the other extreme. Let's look at Black Panther for a second.
Okay.
Black Panther, I personally enjoyed the film, but at the same time, I felt it was once again pushing, hey, we're black and powerful and all that stuff. I'm a black man, and I enjoy seeing that kind of stuff. But even with that sensitive thing and giving him his own film and all that other good stuff, in a previous film, which I think is the greatest of the MCU, Captain America Civil War,
yes,
we're able to figure out who he is. We're figuring out what his motivations were. We understand that he's been trained. He's got skills. This is even from a point of view of someone that doesn't know the comics, if that was the case. Like a normal audience member can see, like, okay, this person has a clear motivation. His father's been murdered. He's going to pursue this person, and he's going to do whatever it takes. Then you see, even in the scenes that he had, you see a complete story arc with him.
Right.
You see him further, oh, I'm just going to kill this guy, and da-da-da-da. And then you're like, oh, that's not the right guy. Oh, there's another guy to kill. And you see how he changes, and then at the end of it, he's like, no, I'm not going to kill you, and I'm not going to let you take your life because I'm better than that. And so there's still, even with that, you still see an arc, and you still see changes. And then going into his own film, we already knew who he was. We kind of wanted to see him succeed. He had real problems.
Yeah.
He had a weakness. Everything about the character worked still, despite having a political push, as it were.
Yeah.
It still worked flawlessly. But unfortunately, Captain Marvel didn't do anything.
Yeah. It was a poor choice of push. And then going into what you call them? If you go into the Star Wars universal code, which is toast to me. I mean,
oh Jesus! Mommy, stop the bleeding.
As Rey is potentially. Look, what was the first one?
A Force
Force
Awakens.
Awakens. They had a chance. They had a chance, but after that, it was done. I mean, first of all, Star Wars is an entirely different issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a subject that could take its life of its own.
That's 6 hours.
Right. The Rey character is not believable because same thing. She didn't go up. She didn't lead up to it. She came in off the street and gave Kylo a good fight and scarred the man. And she had never picked up a lightsaber before in her life.
And they had the audacity to actually say it in the film.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Why? Did they even say that was like a con? You know, that wasn't a pro. You know.
Nope. You see what I'm saying? But that's the beauty of the Mary Sue character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what it's all about. Like, well, why are they powerful? Meh. Okay. Okay. But I mean, it's not slowing down. And that's the problem. It's not going to slow down. This is where everything's going to go. Everything's going to suck for a while until they finally realize that it won't be profitable. Once it stops being profitable, then there's going to be like, okay, maybe we should stop doing what we're doing. But until that quota isn't met, we're going to be seeing this for a decade. So,
and again, where that affects me, you know, I write Brooklyn Blur. She's a African American female. As I write the character, I'm directing all my energies to pushing her story.
Exactly.
Her, and I hate even to say that because they always work that her story thing. Anyway, but pushing her story, I put her circumstances before her. And her circumstances can be universal. You know what I mean? It could be her trying to work her way in as a budding comic book artist, her trying to protect New York, her part trying to do whatever. I haven't even scratched the surface of her personal life.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that's what's going to kick in after I do the building of her history, her background, her current circumstances. Then I'm going to get into the various aspects of her personal life. But like you say, build her up.
Yes, and that's the thing.
You know,
build the character. I don't care if they're black, white, Latino, Asian, Eskimo. I don't care. Yeah. If the character isn't interesting, if it's not a character that I want to see or a character that's worth talking about, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And like I say, my thing is I don't want to get lumped in with he said, "Oh, you're promoting the feminist agenda." No, I'm just writing a story about this lady. This
exactly.
Girl, this is a hero, you know.
But as long as she's well written and we as a collective audience can see, like, oh, there's a journey. Oh, she's gaining abilities. Oh, hey, she's learning things. Oh, she overcame things. It's gonna work.
Yeah.
It's gonna work because your competition is someone that's already won, and we're just watching her win some more. That's it. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Now, granted, they got a pretty big marketing machine behind them, but it's machine's going to fail.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, because the big wins that Marvel has had so far have been basically based off of their momentum.
Of course,
Infinity War. You know, the build up to Infinity War got them to where they are right now.
Exactly.
My fear for them is if they say, all right, now we're going to go and just diversify.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. And that's the problem. And I think the problem really started with Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming. I hated that movie. I know a lot of people liked it. I hated that movie. But for several reasons. Like, let's just take the acting out of it for a second because Tom Holland's mediocre at best. But I'm sorry. Mediocre. But when I saw what was happening with him in the school, that is what turned me off. How Flash Thompson is no longer the jock, and he's no longer this opposing force, which drove Peter to beat him with wits over Braun. And you make him into just some brainy rich kid that doesn't do anything and is a social bully. I'm like, okay, this is dumb and doesn't make any sense. Then we have whatever they're doing with Zendaya. She's not Mary Jane, but she's kind of Mary Jane,
Yeah.
but she's not. You see, I mean, but why is that? And like, oh, we have to make sure we have a like Flash Thompson's an Indian kid, and his best friend's a Chinese kid, and the Zendaya is the black white chick or whatever hybrid baby.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, and you're pushing, and like you're trying to do this whole like, oh look at all these different races coming together. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, isn't he from Queens? I'm like, can we not have white people? I mean, that's all I'm saying. I'm like, there's no white people in Queens, I guess. So I know I see stuff like that, and then you're building this whole story arc around whatever, and then you when you implant things like that, like I'm all for diversity. That's cool, but is it pushing the story forward, or is you just putting in something to be like, hey, look, we don't believe in bullying. Bullying's wrong, so you can't have a bully anymore. He just has to be a rich kid that makes fun of him because he's not as rich as him. That's not relatable, because if you're in Queens or any other inner city, rich kids aren't what you're really rubbing shoulders with.
Yeah, he's in public school. Yeah.
He's in public school.
Public
school. He's not a charter or some whatever. He's in public school, but the rich kid is also in public school who has a mansion and his own car when he's like 14. That's not reality. If you want to blend that, you're making a mistake because you're pushing the wrong message. If you're trying to push bullying's wrong, show us that he can overcome bullying. Show us that this is an issue. It is an issue.
It is. Yeah.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
Show us that he can overcome it. Show him be bullied and then overcome it, which was done masterfully, may I add, in the previous two Spider-Man franchise.
The Sam Raimi stuff?
Yeah, Sam Raimi's and when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man came out.
Amazing,
right? Yeah. Right. It was well done. And it also gave Flash a character in the second one. The first one, he had no character. Right. In the second one, with the Amazing Spider-Man, he had a character. He wasn't just a bully just to be a bully. He was trying to establish himself as the macho. But when Peter experienced the loss of his of Uncle Ben, Flash was like, yo, I'm sorry that this happened to you. And he saw that he wasn't just a bully just to be a monster. He was trying to accomplish something as far as a food chain is concerned. And then you also see him later on, like being a fan of Spider-Man, because that's also part of the story. But you see, that also showed us a story arc with Peter kind of reconciling with the bully and seeing that the bully has changed.
Right.
You give me none of that. That's a major piece of Peter Parker's story. And you remove that because bullying's bad and we don't want to show kids that people bully. And it's wrong.
Yeah, and that's, like you say, it's an issue today anyway, so what's the point? And that also that brings up one last thing. I think I can take appropriating, matter of fact, I know I can take appropriating a brand more than I can appropriating, say, like so you know, like how they do the gender swaps and all that, and all of those swaps.
Yes,
those they don't sit well with me. But if you were to take appropriate a brand, like if you say Falcon is the new Captain America,
okay,
I can sit with that.
Yeah,
but if you say Captain America is black, just off the break, and you know, like certain characters,
like you just did a race swap off the jump.
If you do a race swap off the jump, I can't work with you.
That makes sense to me.
Because first, you're using a brand that I'm familiar with and that I have expectations with.
Agreed.
And the whole thing now is subvert expectations.
Oh, trust me, expectations been in the toilet for years.
Yeah, I mean, so I can't take. I mean, when you go to, I'm trying to think of a good people got mad about the ancient one being
like a old white woman instead of a old Chinese man.
Right, things like that. And then Marvel's good with that because, like I say, they're trying to build a rainbow coalition or whatever it is they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? They switch all of the genders and the races and stuff like that as much as they can, maybe on the lower level, like with Mary Jane and people like that, just to make that point. You know what I'm saying? It's diversity. Uh, yeah, I can't do that. Because
No,
you giving me a story that I'm invested in because of
exactly,
familiarity.
exactly.
You can't then snatch the rug out from under me and then say, "Oh, now the role of so and so is being played by a black man."
Yeah, exactly. It
Nah,
feels it feels cheap.
it does. It
It
does.
feels cheap, and when you think of the Green Lantern Corps, they did it so well. It's not like Hal Jordan became a black man. You
Yeah,
know,
you're right.
got another Lantern who
Yeah,
happened to be black and made him John Stewart. Makes sense to me. But
yeah,
if you go and grab me, ooh, I don't know, let's just say Cyclops. Let's just play extremes.
right,
Let's say
right.
Cyclops has been a white man since the '60s or whatever. Then you just bring out new X-Men. He's Chinese.
I can't do it.
I'm I'll be like, is this an alternate universe or
Right, right.
what are we doing? Like, nope, he's Chinese.
It's like people were jumping on Michael B. Jordan for the new Superman. Now I'm
Yep.
saying if you're doing like you say alternate reality or different, because it was there's a black Kryptonian that was either in I'm not that up on Superman for
Uh-huh. Neither
there's,
am I. Not a,
yeah,
you know.
there's
Not
like
a,
a black Kryptonian that either in another reality or
mm-mm.
timeline was Superman or whatever. If you're playing that card, I got you.
Okay,
But if you
that's
just
fine.
but if you just go ahead and say, well, he's black,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So to appease black people. No,
Yep.
man, come up with
That's
a
not
black
good.
character to
Hey,
stop.
thank you. Just
It's just
make something new.
yes.
That's
Now,
it.
now the whole comic skate started because people thought that new characters were being passed over because they were new and people like the old familiar, whatever that is. I do not accept the fact that people will not get on board with good new stories. I don't care if it's within an existing universe, like if Marvel just started telling different stories,
Mm-hmm.
brand new characters, that they would just get stepped over entirely for the old ones. They may
Uh,
not get the same acceptance as the Spider-Mans and the whoever's, but I don't accept that they wouldn't be picked up and embraced if they were told well.
and once again, you hit the nail on the head. Um, but the thing about new stuff that scares people is that they're afraid that it's to replace something that they
Mm-hmm.
already have an attachment to, and that's always been the name of the game. But it seems like every time they give it a chance,
Mm-hmm.
everyone enjoys it, and that's the gamble that every creator has to make. No, should be making.
Mm-hmm.
Giving somebody something new, give them something fresh, something that they may feel nervous about. But at the same time, once they see it or get their hands on, like, hey, wait a minute, this isn't too bad. It's like when you're trying a foreign food, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You go to, I don't know, whatever Indian restaurant for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
you don't recognize anything on the menu, but
Right.
then like, hey, what do you recommend? Like, oh, I recommend durka 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 whatever, and you try, like, hey,
Sorry.
it's pretty good. I
Sorry.
like Durka 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 Durka, whatever. You like it. But you have to, but as a creator or a writer or anybody that's in the media now, that is what should be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, because they're still afraid of, oh, what if people don't like this? It's not about that, because once you rehash or remake
Mm-hmm.
something that we've already made a connection to, we're not going to be on board anyway. Because like, hey, you can't do that. This is blah 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 blah. Unless it's something that people aren't that attached to, which is a very very rare case, and that is why we've all pretty much got on board with Black Nick Fury, because
Yes. Yeah.
no one really cared about Nick Fury to begin with. Be as
Mm-hmm.
honest as you can. He had a TV show. He had countless comedy shows.
Take the hassle off Nick Fury. Wow.
Nobody cared. Zero people. Like, oh, Black Nick Fury. All right. Who cares? He's not an important character. What else we have? Black Wally West now. We have Black Wally West.
Yeah.
Why is that? Oh, because we don't care about Wally West. We care about Barry Allen. That's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
But if you could, like if I come up here right now and say that, oh, I'm going to make a Japanese Batman that is Bruce Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Wayne being Japanese, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the new continuity, people will be burning down churches immediately.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first one with the torch.
It's true. I mean, look, I always gave Dwayne McDuffie and the Milestone Crew. I always gave them props. I didn't get down with everything they did, but I like Hardware and I like Static.
Yeah,
and
I love
Static.
Static.
I thought that was tight.
Static is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I don't know why no one's on board. Actually, I took a lot of inspiration from Static when I was writing my series.
Okay.
I took a lot of inspiration from him, especially with his Rogues Gallery, the Bang Babies. I think it's the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, everybody is exposed to this chemical in this particular area. They're all high school students for the most part. They all know each other. They already have relationships and beef within each other already.
Right.
There's a character written that I don't know if it was written for the comic, maybe it was written for the TV show called Omnifarious. And I think I'm in love with him.
Yeah?
He has basically he was a Bang Baby, but he didn't manifest a lot of powers, but he would press a different gas bubble that had the Bang Baby power, and he would get a different ability. And it for some odd reason, it stuck with me forever. It stuck with me. And part of that character and part of Static's ideology and the high school and all that stuff helped me write my main character arc. And I love that. I love that series. I love it. It doesn't get enough recognition. It doesn't get the love it deserves.
I'm waiting for the movie, man.
Hello, take my money.
Hey,
take my money. It's here.
They had a successful book. They had a successful cartoon. Where's the movie?
Just take my. It's right here. Take it.
The blueprint's been written. Go ahead and take
do it. It's like you don't have the rights to it. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
But I digress. But you see, that kind of creativity is what spawns longevity, and that's what that kind of creativity spawns other creativity. But no one wants to be creative anymore. Well, no one in the big corporate machines wants to be creative anymore, and that's in every industry. TV shows, video games, comics. It's in every industry. No one wants to be creative.
Run it back. They have to run it back because there's a lot of money on the line. These movies cost a lot of money, and they don't have any margin of error to get that money back. So they just run it back. They run back what they think people came there for, throw a lot of creativity out of the window just so they can get that dollar back.
And that's unfortunate.
It is.
Because there's been so many gambles that have been hugely successful. And the fact of the matter is that they haven't looked at the trend of history and understood that. And that's unfortunate because everything was a gamble. At one point, everything that we have right now was a gamble. Marvel Comics was a gamble. DC was a gamble. The MCU itself was the biggest gamble of all time in recent history.
Indeed, yeah.
You tried to lead a franchise on a B-list character in Iron Man, and you made a multi-billion-dollar machine. That in of itself was a gamble.
True.
And for some odd reason, they're like, oh, we won't make money. Obviously, you have the recipe for success.
Take a chance.
And now, how as big as powerful, Disney cannot fail right now.
No.
Disney cannot fail. They just re-released daggone Aladdin, and that Jones made like $850 million. And everybody says the movie sucks. But guess what? The joke made $850 million.
Yes.
Disney can't lose. They can't lose.
It's like some kind of mafia situation.
It is. No matter what, they're gonna make their money. And it's gonna happen. It's a machine that can't be slowed down. So if there was any time or opportunity for gambling to happen, this is it. But yet we're still going to play it safe, loosely safe, and then push nonsense, which will eventually, down the line, be somebody's undoing.
Okay, all right. No, it's been a great discussion. I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything that you want to plug?
Follow me on Twitter @TheBrute00, Instagram @TheBrute00, Facebook The Bruce 00.
Okay.
Book coming out soon.
Tell them.
Trouble, The Rhythm Within.
Okay.
It's gonna be great. You'll get more updates. Once you follow me on all my social medias, you'll see updates on a regular.
Hey, dude, if you ever need to plug anything, come to the Crisis Corner. You know I got your back.
Oh, it's my favorite corner on the street.
Hey, anything I can do to plug you, I'm gonna plug, man. We go back. So, hey, again, appreciate you coming in. This has been the Creative Corner and the Crisis Corner. We'll be back at you with another intriguing topic. And until then, stay loose.